Hey there, and welcome to That's Audacious, where we share entrepreneurial stories from amazing leaders to inspire and motivate you to be bold, brave, and audacious. I'm your host, Clemett, the brand navigator, here to share stories that will make you say, well, that's audacious. Hi and welcome to the That's Audacious podcast. Now, you might have noticed I'm alone in the studio today. I don't have a guest, and I thought I'd take the opportunity to share with you the answer to one of the most frequently asked questions that we get all the time. And that is, am I ready? Have I done enough to enter awards? Now, it is a bit of a myth around awards, and I'd love to answer this question for you to give you some confidence and maybe to challenge your thinking and that mindset that might be holding you back from that recognition. So one of the biggest myths that there are around awards is that you need to have some sort of massive or established result or stellar financials. And in reality, most awards, probably 90% of them, don't actually ask for your financials. They focus instead on innovation, on potential, on your challenges, on the impact you're having, and not just growth or revenue. So you don't have to have had amazing growth or massive income jumps and spikes in order to enter awards. The other thing that people think is that it's not just a financial thing, but they think they're also too small or too new or too unknown to enter awards. Now, awards are for businesses of all sizes, from startups to massively established enterprise businesses. Now, it's just a question of finding the right ones and making sure you go for the right categories. So there is like a golden window, if you like, when you are a startup, where there are startup categories available to you. And the eligibility might be that you've started in the last 12 months to 2 years, or it might be an emerging business category. And they're specifically designed for new ventures that might be pre-profit. They might not have funding yet, and you're just in that real niche point where you can get into those sorts of categories and those sorts of awards. So there's definitely awards out there for every stage of business. And if you've got that golden opportunity, that golden window to get into it as a startup, I highly recommend you do, because after that period, you're no longer eligible. Now, the third thing that's going on here is a little bit of imposter syndrome, the thing I call the itty-bitty shitty committee, that really is that feeling of insecurity. I'm not sure if I've done enough, or I'm being enough, or I'm ready enough. Nothing's perfect. I'm making all these mistakes. My business isn't optimized. It's not quite rolling as well as I'd like it to. And you're really thinking more specifically about what other people might think of you for entering awards if you're in the early stages of a business, or you're struggling through business, or if you're just building or you're creating and you're not really perfect yet. Now, I put perfect in those quote marks because nothing ever really is perfect. And if you can just reflect on your journey as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as someone who's creating an impact or having an influence on your industry or building a community, and look at your achievements on what you've done to date, that gives you a profound sense of what you're actually achieving. And there's a huge amount of that self-recognition that happens as you go through an awards process. So don't be afraid to stop for a moment and consider all of the challenges you've had, why you started in business in the first place, why you wrote that book or created that program or came up with that product or solution, and your challenges along the way and what they've done for you. Because all of those failures are also part of your success. So you're never too small, you're never too new, you're never too late to get in to awards. There really are so many out there that are available to you, regardless of whether you're a service, a product, an influencer, an impact maker, whether you've got a business or not, or a product or not, or whatever you want to focus on. There's something out there for you with the awards that are available to you. So never think you're too small or too new or too unknown to enter awards. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of case studies as examples, just maybe to inspire and motivate you a little bit to understand that you can enter awards at any stage in business, and there's never a right time to do it. It's just a case of deciding, I'm ready for some recognition. I think our team or our innovation or our product or service deserves to be respected for what it's doing. So let's go for some awards. So first one I want to share with you is the lovely Angela Dion. Now, Angela created a brand new solution for breastfeeding based on her own experiences. So she'd been told by a midwife to roll up a face cloth and pop it under one of her breasts in order to support herself while she was breastfeeding, which sort of did the trick, but it kept falling out and moving and not being quite as comfortable, and it gave her neck pain and back pain and really didn't make the whole experience of bonding with her child very easy or very comfortable or a happy moment at all. So she created the Blissful Bond booby pillow, which is a strap around your neck and it holds the breast in place. It improves your milk flow, it improves your posture, it improves the fact you've got both hands free to be able to look after your baby and be comfortable and bond with your baby while you're breastfeeding. And it's absolutely taken off, but it didn't start that way. There was a huge amount of time and effort that Angela put into manufacturing the product, getting it right, making it, the material being enough that it can be medical grade, all that sort of thing, and making sure that it was presented in the right way at a level that she really wanted that product to be. She had probably sold about 50 units when we first met at the Business Blueprint conference, and we got talking about awards. And she said, oh, I don't know if I'm ready yet. I'm really just new. And we had a conversation, much like I'm having with you today. And she went, okay, let's go for it. So we entered her into the Stevie Awards for Women in Business. It's an international business award specifically for women, targeted at business owners and influencers and those making an impact. And there were a couple of categories in there that were perfect for her. So one was product innovation, a new product, and they were all around starting up and creating an innovative way of doing things, looking at something differently and really launching to market. So they weren't expecting massive financials or huge numbers of sales. They were really looking for this innovative problem solving that this new product had created and how she'd been innovative with it. Now, Angela won 2 bronze awards at the Stevie Awards that day, and in one of those categories, the product innovation category, she was up against Google. So that just shows you where you can position yourself, that branding by association with awards, that you can put yourself in the same realm as some established and well-known brands. So she then took those awards and their amazing little medals that she has, and when she was next at a fair, a trade fair, and she had all her product there and all the buyers were circulating around this fair, one of the people from Westfield was wandering past her stand, and he sort of walked past and did a double take and walked back again and said to her, tell me a little bit about those awards. How have you won those Stevie Awards? And it was really interesting because she sort of thought, oh, this is interesting. I've really got an opportunity here to talk to someone who's a big buyer, and they got chatting all because the awards were there. And all of a sudden he was talking about pallets of product, and she was like, oh my God, how are we going to do this? Don't think about the how, Angela, just go for it. I'm so impressed with the way she's grown her brand and her business from a startup at early stages to really playing big on a world stage and getting her product out there. And she's just doing amazing things. And she's gone on since then to enter and win awards on her own and doing amazing things. So she's building an incredible brand. Now, the next story I want to share with you is somebody who won an award without even creating the product. So if you're sitting there and you've got a concept, or maybe you've got an idea, or you might be going through patenting something and you haven't quite brought it to market yet, you're still in the process of developing, it might be a new approach or a program, the lovely Kimberly Sumner is a great story for you. So she won a gold Stevie Award, again at the International Stevie Awards for Women in Business, and she pitched her She Prosperity idea, her concept, into one of the categories around women helping women. And it was all about closing the gender pay gap in corporate. And she'd created an entire program. She'd done her research. She'd put it all together, and she was ready to rock and roll. She hadn't even launched yet, but we put it in for an award, and she won a gold Stevie Award just for her concept. So maybe you've got vision or future potential with something. Don't hold it back from awards. You can use that to launch as an award-winning concept before you've even launched. So really cool way to think about it. If you've got a brand new product or a solution and it's untried and untested, win an award for it, and then you can launch it with credibility. Now, the third person I want to share with you, again, another amazing woman. She didn't have a business, and she's only just now starting to build her business, and yet we've been winning awards for her. So she doesn't actually have something to sell in terms of a business solution. She was an author. She had an incredible journey with lots and lots of medical issues throughout her life. In fact, I think she spent more time in hospital than out of hospital, wrote a book about it. And the lovely Amelia O'Sullivan came and said, hey, I really want to create some awareness around my book and get myself known as an author. So she started off with us with author awards, and we entered her in a number of author awards, which she won, which is great. So now she's an award-winning author. So there's credibility again that you've got a book that's award-worthy. And then we started entering into other things, because she started a podcast off the back of the book, and we went for podcast awards. And then we started to think, well, where do we want to position you? Where is your brand going with this? Because eventually Amelia does want to start a business, and she's starting a coaching business. She's building amazing online downloadable products to help people through their own medical journeys. So we entered her in the Beam in Business Awards for a wellness advocacy role. So it wasn't necessarily about business. It was around her being an advocate for health and well-being. And she won, and she took out that top prize. So you don't have to have had runs on the board as a business. There are definitely categories out there around impact, around social impact, around social change, technology advancements, challenging the norm. All those sorts of things are out there in terms of categories. You just need to know that they exist. You need to think about where you want to position yourself. So these examples I've given you today prove that you don't need decades of history or massive revenue to be award worthy. Your impact, your innovation, and your unique story are more than enough. So, are you awards ready? Well, it really does mean it comes down to just a couple of things. Number one, having a clear purpose. You know, what is it you want to win awards for? What's your unique solution or the unique approach that you have, or your unique product? And just having the courage to articulate the value of that, even before you've launched, is worth going through that process of saying, you know what, I'm really proud of what I've done and the impact this thing could have, let alone what it started to have, even if I'm just new. Or maybe you've been around a long time and you've just pivoted slightly and changed your business model. You've got a different approach or a new product to bring to market. There's an opportunity to make it credible with awards. It's all about passion, dedication, and the problem you solve. Regardless of your current state or how much money you've made or how much growth you've had, maybe in the last few years with it being really tough after COVID and with all sorts of, issues around finance and interest rates, you might have shrunk your business, in fact. But that's another good story to tell the judges, that you have adapted and you've managed to take on those challenges, and this is what we're now doing. You've come to market with a brand new model or brand new solution. So being awards ready is really about embracing the journey and being prepared to look at recognizing what you've achieved and being committed to leveraging an award and turning that into growth. So don't let that self-doubt, that itty-bitty shitty committee, or those outdated myths hold back your brilliance any longer. You can actually find out how awards ready you are right now. We have at the Audacious Agency a free Are You Awards Ready quiz. And I'll put that link underneath the podcast so you can go and try it out yourself. It only takes a few minutes. Just be honest in your answers, but it'll provide you with a complete personalized guide to identify your current state of readiness, whether you're a gold, a silver, or bronze. It's also helpful if you've entered awards before and you haven't won. It'll help identify those areas that maybe you're not quite up to scratch, that you could just boost those a little bit and start to take out the gold. Or if you are, winning a couple of awards, but they're not really the category that you want to win, or they're just in your industry, you want to go big and go global or whatever it is, they'll really help you identify those next steps and what you need to do to prepare to enter awards. So go check out the quiz, do the quiz, use the guidebook. And if you need any help, please contact us. We're here to help. And we can absolutely help give you feedback on which awards to go for and give you feedback on, what you're doing in terms of your award-winning approach. So there you go. That's your That's Audacious podcast for today. It's all about having the courage, being passionate about what you do, and being ready to recognize your success, because you're in business, you're here, you've created something, you've written a book, you've built a business or a brand or a product, or you're delivering a service. You've done something that's award worthy. And I encourage you to get out there and be bold, brave, and audacious. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much for listening to the That's Audacious podcast. Remember, there's no place for modesty in business, and you do deserve to be well known, well paid, and wanted. For more episodes, please subscribe to the podcast on your favourite channel or follow us online. The links are in the description below.